Part 38. Across the Heavens, Marvel's Mechanical Hunter. Author, De Chuan-Chi. Chapter 372. Before they finished talking, they looked at each other in surprise and paused. Luo Feng stopped what he was doing, looked up at Su Xian and said, "Hello, Su Xian, why are you in the wild too?" Yejuju continued to harvest without looking up, saying, "We'll thank you and talk about the past when we get back. After collecting these materials, leave here immediately. I noticed that a large number of monsters are gathering here. If you don't want to die, prepare a vehicle and leave here at any time." "What?" Everyone, including Luo Feng, exclaimed in surprise. Yejuju didn't want to explain anything. "If you want to listen, it's better. If you don't want to listen, just take care of yourself and Luo Feng." At most, add, Su Xian. Although the leading warrior didn't understand why Yejuju said so, he still chose to believe Yejuju and took his people back to the vehicle immediately to clean up the mess and prepare to return to the city at any time. Su Xian was stunned, not knowing whether to leave or stay. Seeing this, Yejuju was very considerate and asked Luo Feng to comfort Su Xian. Luo Feng gave Yejuju a grateful look, pulled Su Xian aside and started talking. A minute later, Yejuju cut off the materials from the silver moon wolf and the two-tailed tiger cat with quick movements, stood up and asked everyone to get in the car and leave immediately. Everyone, including Luo Feng and the other person who were talking, got in the car without hesitation, started the car, turned around and left here. After everyone walked for a few minutes, a large number of monsters appeared here. After not seeing humans, these monsters were attracted by the monster corpses on the ground. In order to compete for the corpses of the monsters on the ground, the monsters immediately fought. The low-level monsters did not dare to come forward, but secretly dragged away a section of the corpse of the two-tailed tiger cat, ran to the side and gnawed it. The higher-level monsters were not so friendly. Races fought with each other, and finally monsters of the same race also fought each other, but what they were fighting for was the corpse of the silver moon wolf on the ground. Of course, Yejuju and his group could not see all this. But they could still hear the dense and chaotic roars of monsters from afar, and they were all glad that they listened to Yejuju's advice and left there in time. Otherwise, the consequences would be disastrous. The armored convoy quickly left Area D, but on the way they met the Fire Hammer Squad, which had accepted the rescue mission and rushed here. Because the Fire Hammer Squad was carrying the RH Alliance mission logo, both sides stopped, and Yejuju also met the members of the Fire Hammer Squad who had helped Luo Feng a lot. Gao Feng was still that rough, and his body looked very strong. As for the other few people, Yejuju was not interested in paying too much attention. When the two sides met, the people of the Fire Hammer Squad were a little embarrassed. After all, they accepted the mission, but they received the mission target without any effort. This mission was considered a bargain for them. Yejuju urged everyone to get in the car and leave here and return to the base. After saying goodbye to Luo Feng and the others who had a lot to say, Yejuju handed over the materials to the base in exchange for funds and contribution points, and then returned to the warrior community alone. In the evening, Luo Feng came to Yejuju's house and sat on the sofa, looking like he wanted to say something but stopped. Yejuju was very amused and asked, "Go ahead, what's the matter?" "That, brother, yeah, Luo Feng was still hesitant to speak fluently, and Yejuju did not urge him, but secretly thought, could it be that Luo Feng has met Su Xian's eldest brother, and he was hit and wanted to go out hunting alone? While guessing, he heard Luo Feng take a deep breath and said, "Brother, yeah, I want to go out alone for a while, I." Hearing this, Yejuju secretly said, "Is it really like this? This is to work hard." Since this is the case, Yejuju will naturally not fail to help Luo Feng, otherwise how did he get the nickname of a madman? Without waiting for Luo Feng to continue explaining, Yejuju said with understanding. I have actually seen that the girl's family background is not simple. Is it her family that embarrassed you? Okay, I understand you. It's good for you to go out alone for a while, so that you can hone your strength and improve your strength. When you think you can, just come to me again. The reason why Yejuju agreed to Luo Feng so straightforwardly was that he was thinking about the sudden improvement of the 9-layer Ice Blade sword skill, and thinking that it would be good to separate from Luo Feng, so that he could go find some high-level monsters to kill alone to improve his sword skills. Seeing Yejuju agreed, Luo Feng looked at Yejuju gratefully and said, "Thank you, brother Ye, I." Seeing that Luo Feng's eyes were a little red, he was afraid that the protagonist would piss in front of him, so he waved his hand to stop him and said, "Okay, don't say anything, I just want to go out alone for a while. Well, let's take a month. Let's see how much our strength will increase in a month. Luo Feng, come on." "Oh. Thank you brother Ye." Hearing this, Luo Feng was completely relieved and said gratefully. After sending Luo Feng away, Yejuju lay back on the bed and carefully recalled in his mind where there were some powerful monsters in the anime he watched, so that he could kill them to improve his strength and by the way, well, make some money. So, the next day, the two of them went out of the city to the wild to hunt monsters. Unexpectedly, the nickname that should have belonged to Luo Feng fell on the heads of the two. So, the reputation of the two lunatics spread throughout the base. However, compared to Luo Feng, Yejuju's reputation is much more famous than Luo Feng. Because the lowest level of monsters killed by Yejuju are primary beast generals, and the number is not large. The most are intermediate beast generals, and there are also many materials of high-level beast generals. But Luo Feng is different. He doesn't care about meat and vegetables. He will not let go of anything that can be sold for money. Therefore, one of the two people puts quantity first, and the other puts quality first, which is enough to shock the warriors and staff of the entire base, and both of them have the name of lunatics. Unfortunately, although Yejuju also got the name of lunatic, he did not get the reward from the system. This day is the third to last day of the January period. Yejuju has been in the wild for a whole week. After killing a bloodthirsty tank of a primary beast general and storing the materials in the space, Yejuju sat on the top of a building, looking at the deep wilderness that had become a deep forest, and he had the urge to go in. After almost a month of hunting, Yejuju's strength had been upgraded to the intermediate level, and he was just a little bit away from the advanced level. Of course, this was because the 5 hearts to the sky technique had been upgraded to the proficient level, and the 9-layer ice blade had been upgraded to the 2nd level. The 5 hearts to the sky technique brought Yejuju an increase of 20 in strength and speed, which means that without using the 9-layer ice blade, Yejuju's strength could reach 9,700 kilograms. Across the Heavens, Marvel's Mechanical Hunter. Author, De Chuanqi. Chapter 373. The fastest update of the latest chapter of Marvel's Mechanical Hunter across the heavens. With the blessing of 5 times the second weight of the 9-layer ice skate, Yejuju's power can instantly explode to more than 21,000 kilograms, and his speed can reach almost 200 meters per second. The strength of a proper mid-level warrior. Of course, such an outbreak cannot always be sustained. Each time the attack is held, Yejuju consumes 100 of his own energy. Even if Yejuju currently has an energy value of 7,800, plus the energy recovered every second, it is not enough for Yejuju to continue to explode for long. Just when Yejuju was wondering whether he should go back to the base for a few days to repair, he heard the frightened roar of a monster in the distance. Yejuju stood up in surprise and looked into the distance, and asked the Red Queen who controlled the mechanical fly to monitor the surroundings, what happened in the distance. "Sir, the monsters in this area are in chaos, and many of them are running away. It must be something happening further away." Hearing this, Yejuju couldn't help but feel surprised. but suddenly thought of a possibility, that is, a beast tide broke out. I remember that in the original plot, when Luo Feng was hunting wildly in the wild, a level 3 rat tide broke out. Thinking of this, Yejuju immediately asked the Red Queen to put the mechanical fly further away to check. The Red Queen agreed and immediately controlled the mechanical fly to fly away. After a while, Yejuju heard Queen Hong say, "Sir, a large number of rat-shaped monsters appeared 5 kilometers away, numbering in the hundreds of millions, and they are coming here quickly. Ayo, there really is a rat tide breaking out?" Yejuju couldn't help but think after vomiting. Now that the rat tide has broken out, Luo Feng might be nearby. Then is the god of war Lu Gang coming too? Does that mean that if you help save Lu Gang and Luo Feng in front of Luo Feng, will you be rewarded by the system? Thinking of this, Yejuju couldn't suppress the excitement in his heart. With the thought, he put on the armor on his body, started the propeller and flew into the air, flying towards the direction of the rat tide in the distance. At the same moment, Luo Feng also noticed the situation and rushed towards the direction of the rat tide without hesitation. For Yejuju, the distance of 5 kilometers was just over a minute. When he came to the top of the rat tide and saw the dense black rat beasts on the ground, Yejuju couldn't help but feel his scalp numb. Fortunately, he doesn't have trypophobia. Otherwise, if he saw such a situation, he would be so frightened that his hands and feet would become weak and he would lose his fighting ability. On the ground, the rat tide formed 3 peaks and moved forward quickly like the tide. Wherever you go, whether you encounter human warriors who have no time to escape, or other monsters. Anyway, anything that can get into the belly will be instantly eaten by the rat tide until nothing is left. Fortunately, Yejuju was in the air. Even if the rat beast on the ground discovered Yejuju, there was nothing he could do to him. Of course, if the rat king in the rat tide wants to kill Yejuju, there is still a way, and that is to stack the rat ladder. As long as there are enough rat beasts, they can be stacked to a high enough height to attack Yejuju suspended in the air. Of course, this is based on the premise that Yejuju can no longer fly upward. Therefore, when Yejuju faced the rat tide, he was in an invincible position, so he was not afraid of this mere rat tide. At this moment, a loud cry for help came from the ground. "Senior, help!" Yejuju looked down, but it was the warrior who was running for his life on the ground who discovered Yejuju hovering in the air. Seeing that Yejuju could fly and levitate, he regarded Yejuju as a god of war powerhouse and called Yejuju for help. Yejuju only hesitated for a moment, then flew towards the warriors on the ground, hovering 10 meters in the air, and said to several warriors on the ground, "You run away first, I will block it for you for a while." After saying that, Yejuju turned around in the air and faced the surging rat tide on the ground. The sword in his hand crazily condensed the power of ice in his body. The 9-layer ice sword was activated, and it slashed horizontally towards the ground. Suddenly, a white ice sword energy was swung from the sword, gradually enlarging into a huge wave-shaped sword energy, scraping the ground and flying towards the rat tide on the ground. When the warriors on the ground saw Yejuju blocking the rat tide for them, they shouted, "Thank you, Senior." After saying that, he ran away into the distance without looking back. On the ground, the rat tide was slashed by Yejuju's sword energy. The wave-like rat tide was immediately frozen over a large area of more than 20 meters. The peak of the rat tide was suppressed, leaving behind a dense mass of ice cubes on the ground. Of rat beast corpses. Pity. This knife only reduced the number of hundreds of millions or even hundreds of millions of rat beasts by less than 1%. Yejuju had no choice but to continue his efforts and waved 3 sword energy in succession to contain the endless tide of rats for only a few seconds. In the rat tide, a huge rat beast found Yejuju who was blocking the way of the rat tide. It suddenly became angry and raised its head to the sky with a howling sound. As if issuing an order to the rat beast, the rat tide on the ground paused, turned around, and quickly gathered at Yejuju's feet. Then, the rat beasts quickly piled up one on top of the other. Seeing this scene, Yejuju clicked his tongue for a while, sighing at the unity and fearlessness of these rat beasts. In just a blink of an eye, the rat beasts on the ground piled up more than 10 meters. If Yejuju hadn't climbed up in time, he might have been surrounded by the rat beasts and eaten to pieces in an instant. At this moment, a figure rushed over from a distance. Yejuju also noticed the person coming. He just took a glance and found that it was Luo Feng. Relieved, Yejuju was secretly happy and said to himself, "You are finally here, and I should have my mission." Unfortunately, the system did not sound a prompt, which made Yejuju very annoyed. Luo Feng saw the dense tide of rats in the distance and Yejuju hovering 50 meters in the air, and took a breath of cold air, and then he became excited. Obviously, like the warriors saved by Yejuju, he mistook Yejuju for a god of war warrior, and looked up and shouted to Yejuju, "Senior, I am Luo Feng, a senior warrior of the Extreme Martial Arts Hall. Can I help you?" Hearing this, Yejuju rolled his eyes behind the visor and shouted without looking back, "Even the god of war may not be able to stop the rat tide. What's the point of you staying here? Get out of here quickly." After saying that, Yejuju activated the pulse cannon on his chest and blasted at the two piles of rat beasts that had already piled up towards him on the ground. Boom, boom sounded, and the two piles of rat beasts that had just piled up 30 meters high were blasted away by two pulse cannons. The corpses of rat beasts all over the sky fell to the ground like rain, and Luo Feng, who had excellent eyesight, could even see that there were wisps of green smoke on the fallen rat beast corpses. A burst of barbecue aroma came over, making Luo Feng frown. We provide you with the fastest update of the book Marvel Mechanical Hunter written by the great god Dopan. In order to check the fastest update of this book next time, please be sure to save the bookmark. 400 Rat Tide Free Reading, // You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Across the Heavens, Marvel's Mechanical Hunter. Author, De Chuanqi. Chapter 374. The latest chapter of Traveling Through the Heavens, Marvel Mechanical Hunter is updated the fastest. The rat beasts were killed in large numbers, and the Rat King was completely angry. He stood in the rat tide, and from time to time he let out a huge roar, commanding the rat beasts to continue to attack Yejuju. Diamond suit, diamond suit. In the direction of the base farther away, a fighter plane quickly flew here, obviously coming to support. Facing the endless attacks of rat beasts on the ground, Yejuju didn't care about Luo Feng. He used the impact beam and the pulse cannon on his chest with his hands and feet to continuously bombard the rat beasts that kept piling up on the ground. What a pity! There were too many rat beasts. Even though these rat beasts had extremely low defense, even the impact beam on Yejuju's palm could kill them, but it couldn't stop the rat beasts from piling up one after another and constantly attacking Yejuju in the air, forcing Yejuju to change his position in the air from time to time to avoid the attacks of the piled rat beasts. Luo Feng was overwhelmed by the fierce battle, and he admired Yejuju, the god of war. Although the rat beasts gathered quickly, Yejuju could always disperse them when they gathered to a certain height. In such a short period of time, at least tens of thousands of rat beasts were killed. At this moment, the fighter plane in the sky flew over the battlefield and hovered. The cabin opened and a figure jumped down from it. Before the person landed, the sword in his hand was raised high above his head. In an instant, a large amount of lightning on the sword began to gather, illuminating the surroundings in the daytime, and the light was even brighter and more dazzling. In just over a second, the figure fell to the ground, making a loud bang sound and raising a large amount of smoke and dust. 69shux.com. In the smoke and dust, the sword in the figure's hand was heavily inserted into the ground, and countless lightning snakes of different sizes rushed in all directions. Boom, boom, boom. Sizzle. Squeak. Amid the sound, the group of rat beasts gathered under Yejuju were blown up to dozens of meters in the air by the thunder and lightning, and at least tens of thousands of rat beast corpses fell to the ground. For a moment, within a radius of dozens of meters, there was a rain of rat beast corpses, which made people's scalps numb. Yejuju was even more amazed at the power of the god of war in this world. This attack power was so strong that the number of rat beasts killed was not less than that of himself combined. The lightning disappeared, and the figure standing among the falling rat beast corpses, with a knife flower, looked up at Yejuju who was hovering in the air. Luo Feng also recognized the person and shouted in surprise. "Ah! It's the god of war Lu Gang Sr." Without Luo Feng shouting, Yejuju naturally recognized at a glance this god of war who died with the rat tide for the safety of the base. At this time, the system voice finally sounded. "Congratulations to the host for triggering the world mission. Eliminate the rat tide, prevent the protagonist Luo Feng and the god of war Lu Gang from dying, reward experience 50,000, and upgrade the 9-fold ice blade to the 3rd level. Haha. Finally the mission is triggered, what a generous reward." Yejuju shouted in surprise in his heart, but his hands did not stop, and attacked the rat beasts that gathered again on the ground. Diamond suit, diamond suit, diamond suit. Fortunately, Yejuju's 9-fold ice blade is the same as the 9-fold thunder blade of the thunder god, both of which can be used for group attacks and single attacks. Unlike Luo Feng, although he learned the 9-fold thunder blade, he could not play any role at this time. What's more, Yejuju also has the impact beam and pulse cannon that come with the armor, and the lethality at this time is no less than that of the god of war Lu Gang. Lu Gang originally wanted to say hello to Yejuju and ask Yejuju's origin. Because only he could see that Yejuju was not a god-level warrior, but just a mid-level warrior. However, Yejuju's attack power was so strong that it was beyond Lu Gang's expectation. In addition, the means shown by Yejuju made him amazed and even envious. Not to mention that Yejuju's swordsmanship was not inferior to the 9-layer thunder blade, the attacks from his palms and chest were much more powerful than the sniper rifles of firearms warriors. The most rare thing was that all of Yejuju's attacks were it was even more difficult if it was a group attack. The rat beasts that had been cleared from the ground gathered around again. Lu Gang had to suppress his curiosity and teamed up with Yejuju to kill the rat beasts first. He held back the questions he wanted to ask. With Lu Gang on the ground to help attract firepower, Yejuju finally felt much more relaxed. No matter how many rat beasts there were on the ground, the two of them formed crossfire, crushing the rat beasts' surging attacks again. The bodies of the killed rat beasts covered the ground in several layers, making the ground half a meter thick. Seeing that the number of rat beasts on the ground was eliminated, after killing a small half of them, the 3 of them couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. I thought that this level 3 rat tide was stopped. What a pity. The 3 of them still didn't understand the rat tide enough. The rat tide here was just a part of the rat tide. The rat king in the rat tide had fallen to the end of the rat beasts. Standing in the rat beasts that were still joining in, the rat king looked up to the sky and kept making roaring sounds. Yejuju and Lu Gang were both alert. Yejuju even learned from Hung Hao that 2 large groups of rat beasts were gathering here. Damn! Do you still want people? Cursing depressedly, Yejuju shouted to Lu Gang, who was still killing the rat beast on the ground. Senior Lu Gang, 2 more groups of rat beasts are coming this way. You and Luo Feng should retreat first. I will cut off the rear. Hearing this, Lu Gang looked up at Yejuju in surprise, but chose to believe Yejuju. He turned around and rushed to Luo Feng, pulled Luo Feng up and rushed towards the base. Yejuju took this opportunity to blast away the 2 piles of rat beasts that were gathering with pulse cannons, and evacuated towards the base. Far away from the rat tide, Yejuju fell down and flew side by side with Lu Gang. As Lu Gang moved forward quickly, he turned his head and looked at Yejuju and asked, "What's your name?" Which martial arts school are you a martial artist from? He. Yejuju smiled perfunctorily, but did not answer Lu Gang's question and asked. Senior, do you think there is any way to eliminate this rat tide? I think seniors also understand. If they continue to attack, can the Yakancha base be able to stop them? This is what Lu Gang is worried about. Even though they are the lowest level rat beasts with weak attack power, if there are too many, the base's defense strength may not be able to stop them safely. The best way is to intercept the rat tide in the wild, so as to keep the base safe and worry-free. Thinking of this, Lu Gang said worriedly. The base may not be able to stop it, the best way is to completely intercept the rat tide outside the city. But if you want to completely stop the rat tide outside the city, you must find a way to kill the Rat King. Is that so? To provide you with the fastest update of the gods breathing across the heavens, Marvel's Mechanical Hunter. In order that you can check the fastest update of this book next time, please be sure to save the bookmark. 401 God of War Lu Gang Free Reading / Across the Heavens, Marvel's Mechanical Hunter. Author, De Chuanqi. Chapter 375. The fastest update to the latest chapter of Marvel's Mechanical Hunter Across the Heavens. Lu Gang's words coincided with Yejuju's thoughts, and he thought so too. Thinking of every time before the rat beast attacks, it is the Rat King who roars in the group of beasts, obviously commanding the rat beast. So if we kill it, will the rat herd dissipate on its own? Thinking of this, Yejuju started to worry and said. Senior Lu Gang, can we find a suitable place and find a way to kill the Rat King there? Well, it's okay, but the place is easy to find, but killing the Rat King is not so easy. The Rat King stays among the rat beasts, so if you want to kill him, you have to get close. It is impossible for so many rat beasts to get in front of it, even if Lei and Hong come, they can't get in. Unless, with the Psychic Master around, you can also kill it using long-range means. Speaking of this, Lu Gang couldn't help but sigh. Yejuju also knew why he was like this. I think that spiritual master is not so easy to awaken. There are a few spiritual masters in the alliance, but water from afar cannot quench the thirst of the near. Finding a spiritual master to come here is not something that can be done in a short time. The Rat Tide's offensive doesn't wait for anyone. This place is only over 100 kilometers away from the base. When the spiritual masters from other places get the news, they will come. He. Luo Feng was torn at this moment, thinking that he was a spiritual master, but he didn't want to be exposed now, let alone watch the rat tide attack the base and cause too many casualties to the humans in the base. I am more worried about my parents and younger brother. You know, they are all ordinary people. How to resist the ruthless and endless swarm of rats? Thinking of this, Luo Feng made up his mind and decided to help Yejuju and Lu Gang stop the rat tide in the wild and completely eliminate this third-level rat tide outside the city. Yejuju had been paying attention to Luo Feng, and when he saw his expression changing and becoming determined, he knew that this kid had finally decided to take action. Sure enough, I heard Luo Feng say while running. 2 seniors, I think I can help you, me. It's a spiritual master. What? The speaker was Lu Gang. He stopped suddenly while running, looked at Luo Feng who had already rushed past him and then stopped, and said. Boy, are you a spiritual master? Didn't you lie to me? Luo Feng nodded heavily, indicating that he was not lying, and continued. 2 seniors, for the safety of the base and the safety of my parents and younger brothers, I am willing to stay with the 2 seniors to stop the tide of rats and beasts. Even if you die here, you won't hesitate. Lu Gang did not reply immediately after hearing this. After looking at Luo Feng seriously for a while, he stepped forward, reached out and patted Luo Feng's shoulder heavily and said. Okay. Since you are willing to stay, I will protect you. After speaking, Lu Gangruo glanced at Yejuju meaningfully. His meaning was obvious. You can fly. If there is danger, then you can take him away and I will keep him for you. After understanding the meaning of Lu Gang's eyes, Yejuju admired Lu Gang even more. Yejuju didn't talk nonsense and nodded heavily to Lu Gang. Seeing that Yejuju agreed, Lu Gang said calmly. Okay, the three of us will stay and intercept the rat tide. The location. Just at the broken bridge not far ahead. After saying that, he ran towards the broken bridge, followed by Yejuju and Luo Feng hurriedly following behind. The three of them came to the break on the broken bridge, jumped over the 10-meter wide break, turned around and stood by the break in a perfect zigzag shape, waiting for the rat tide to come over. Within 10 minutes, on the bridge on the other side of the break, a densely packed black group of rats and beasts had already caught up with them. At this time, you can clearly see the horror of the rat tide. The nearly 100-meter-long bridge with no obstructions was covered with moving black tides and black rat beasts, the number of which was so numerous that it made one's scalp numb. Facing so many rat beasts, the three of them took a deep breath and got ready to fight. The speed of the rat tide was very fast, and it rushed to the broken bridge in the blink of an eye. Countless rat beasts fell under the broken bridge because they could not stop their feet. More rat beasts were knocked off the broken bridge by their companions behind them. In just a moment, at least tens of thousands of rat beasts were thrown off the broken bridge. I don't know if he was thrown to death. Then, the roar of the Rat King in the rat beast group sounded again, and the rat beast at the break immediately changed. The rat beasts were stacked one by one, and in the blink of an eye, a pile of rat beasts more than 10 meters high was built. Then, the pile of rat beasts slowly fell towards the fracture. Yejuju was well prepared and reacted quickly when the pile of rats and beasts came over. He used the 9-layer ice knife, and the 2 white blades crossed and slashed towards the pile of rats and beasts. Later, Lu Gang also reacted and launched an attack. A sword energy that was much larger than Yejuju's 2 sword energy caught up with Yejuju's 2 sword energy and slashed straight through the waist of the rat beast. 3 blades of sword energy cut the pile of rat beasts into 3 sections, causing the pile of rat beasts to collapse before it even reached the break, and countless rat beasts fell from the break. Before the 3 of them could breathe a sigh of relief, the Rat King barked again. The rat beast group split into 2 in the blink of an eye. Some rat beasts continued to pile up at the broken end, while some climbed onto the bridge deck, crawled down 100 meters along the bridge pier, crossed the broken bridge from the ground, and climbed up from the bridge pier on this side. Damn, the TV is all a lie. These rat beasts are so smart that they know how to outflank. Seeing this scene, Yejuju couldn't help cursing in his heart, but he didn't dare to stop. The sword energy kept slashing out, and the idle left hand kept firing impact beams to bombard the piled rat beasts. What a pity. Even if Yejuju and Lu Gang's attacks were fierce, they couldn't withstand the endless stream of rat beasts. Seeing that the rat beasts were about to outflank from the front and back, Yejuju became ruthless. With the roar of the thrusters, Yejuju rose to the air, crossed the gap and was 50 meters away from Lu Gang and the others, hovering over the Rat King, spreading his hands and unhesitatingly using the ultimate cold current. For a moment, with Yejuju as the center, a large amount of white mist surged out, instantly wrapping up the entire 50 meters around him. In the mist, the shrill squeaks of the rat beasts continued to sound, and Yejuju and Lu Gang, who had good hearing, could even hear the sound of countless ice cubes breaking. Obviously, a large number of rat beasts in the mist were frozen into ice cubes by the cold air, and then trampled into pieces by other rat beasts. Even so, the rat beasts were still fearless and piled up under Yejuju's feet, trying to climb more than 40 meters high and bite Yejuju down. Unexpectedly, this time, using the ultimate cold current move was not as easy as before. Maybe it's because the rat beasts keep rushing into the cold current. Anyway, Yejuju feels that the energy consumed by the continuous cold current is much more than before. provide you with the fastest update of the Marvel Mechanical Hunter, the great god breathing through the heavens. In order to check the fastest update of this book next time, please be sure to save the bookmark. 402 The Battle of the Broken Bridge is free to read, / Across the Heavens, Marvel's Mechanical Hunter. Author, De Chuan-Chi. Chapter 376. The fastest update of the latest chapter of Marvel's Mechanical Hunter Across the Heavens. Taiwan Novel Network Rightward Arrow. On the other side, because of Yejuju's proactive attack, the Rat Beast group gave up and continued to stack up through the gap. However, the Rat Beast group that had come up from the ground launched an attack on Lu Gang and the two from behind. Naturally, Lu Gang and Luo Feng would not sit back and wait for death. They rushed towards the rats and beasts behind them one after another, using their own methods to kill the rats and beasts. This shows the huge gap between the two. Although both of them used the 9-layer Thunder Sword, with every attack by Lu Gang, a large number of rat beasts were killed, and a large area of the swarming rat beasts disappeared. But Luo Feng could only kill dozens of them at most. Here, a huge ice block formed quickly under Yejuju's feet. In the snow-white ice block, countless dense black patches overlapped. It is obviously a huge ice block formed by countless rat beasts stacking up one after another and being frozen by the cold current of the ultimate move. The existence of ice cubes brings convenience to people and billions of animals. The convenience for the rat beasts is that the rat beasts no longer need to pile up on each other and can accelerate upward along the ice, saving a lot of time for the rat beasts to climb. For Yejuju, the disadvantage is that there are always stronger and luckier rat beasts that can climb to the top and attack Yejuju. But Yejuju also has a way. When you climb up, I will continue in another place. In this way, Yejuju's number of kills miraculously surpassed that of Lu Gang and Luo Feng. Because every second, countless rat beasts were frozen to death by the cold current, much faster than Lu Gang and the two of them could use their moves to kill the rat beasts. I originally thought that even if I ran out of energy, I wouldn't be able to kill all the rat beasts. When the time comes, the rat beast will still pass through the broken bridge and fight all the way to the base. But there are only as many people as you can kill. The more you kill, the more the base's danger will be reduced. But nowhere did I think of it. The Rat King was so smart. Seeing that there was nothing he could do to defeat Yejuju, the Rat King roared again among the rat beasts, commanding the rat beasts to abandon Yejuju, and continued to pile up at the break, trying to get rid of Lu Gang and Lu Gang. Attack from behind. Seeing this scene made Yejuju extremely depressed. He secretly thought that this Rat King was really smart, he could even pick out the weak ones and pinch them. If he couldn't do it, he would go to Lu Gang and the other two. There was no other way, so Yejuju had no choice but to put away his ultimate move, fly back into the air behind Lu Gang and the others, and help them kill the group of rats and beasts that wanted to pass through the gap. If you catch them blind now, even 3 people can't kill so many rat beasts. The key point is that Lu Gang and Luo Feng were surrounded. Seeing that there was no hope of escape, they had no choice but to die here from exhaustion. Yejuju saw how bad the situation was, and Lu Gang naturally saw how critical the situation was. After clearing away the rat beasts in front of him, Lu Gang took the time to glance at Luo Feng and Yejuju, and secretly made a decision in his heart. While Yejuju was fighting, he heard Lu Gang shouting into the headset. "Bring the fighter plane, pick up the 2 young men and leave here. Stop talking nonsense and follow my orders." Hearing this, Yejuju immediately understood what Lu Gang was going to do, and was extremely moved. But I don't approve of him doing this. After all, it's not until the end of the road is reached. However, he did not stop Lu Gang from sending a fighter plane to pick up Luo Feng. After all, if Luo Feng stays here, let alone getting close to the Rat King, whether he can survive is a question. The task of killing the Rat King naturally fell on him, a man who could fly at will. Thinking of killing the Rat King, Yejuju couldn't help but have a headache. Nothing else. That Rat King is really cunning. He was going for the Rat King before, but just when he used his ultimate move, the Rat King cleverly stayed away from Yejuju and avoided Yejuju's Cold Wave ultimate move. What can be done to kill the Rat King? Yejuju, who was fighting on the side, couldn't help but think about it secretly. The strength of the Rat King is only that of a high-level beast general. Although he is a high-level warrior, his defense and attack are not as good as those huge high-level beast generals. As long as he finds an opportunity, Yejuju thinks, there is a chance to kill him with one strike. But here's the thing. The Rat King is extremely fast and clever. How can we get close to it, dodge the protection of the rat herd, and kill it with one blow? In other words, what if you can have an extreme burst from a long distance and kill the Rat King with one blow? Thinking of the ultimate explosion, Yejuju couldn't help but wonder in his mind, among his attack methods, which skill could unleash the greatest power in one blow. Pity. After thinking for a long time, Yejuju believed that only by using Cold Wave could he possibly kill the Rat King. But the problem is, the Cold Wave is a continuous skill, not an explosive skill. Thinking of this, Yejuju couldn't help but mutter in his heart. Martyr, it would be great if the ultimate move Cold Wave could turn the continuous output into an instant burst. Hey. Etc. The moves are dead, but I am alive, right? Skills can't be changed, but I can. Thinking of this, Yejuju immediately became energetic and immediately asked the system in his mind. System, can I change the display status of the skills I know? System. Faced with the silence of the system, Yejuju could not help but get anxious. Just when Yejuju wanted to urge, he heard the system say, in theory. Yes. The few short words spoken from the system immediately gave Yejuju a huge surprise. Without caring about anything else, Yejuju immediately contacted Red Queen. Red Queen, do you know how I cast the ultimate move Cold Current? Yes, sir. Help me simulate the change of the casting state of the ultimate move Cold Current, That is, to change the continuous output of the cold current into a state that can burst instantly. Can you do it? Okay, sir. But. Sir. Can I understand it this way? Sir, you want to use a continuous output skill, such as compression, through some means. After extreme compression, it is released instantly to achieve the effect of quantitative change causing qualitative change, right? Well, you can understand it this way, that's what I mean. Well, sir, I'll start simulating now. After that, Red Queen established a virtual character model in Yejuju's mind, start to calculate and deduce. Yejuju did not urge the Red Queen, and he kept swinging his sword to kill the gathered rat beasts, waiting for the Red Queen to give a specific method and result. On the other side, a fighter plane in the air quickly approached the battlefield and hovered over the heads of the three people. Liu Gang was waiting for this moment. As soon as the fighter plane stopped, he immediately burst out. Seeing him at this time, his body suddenly soared into the air, hovering 30 meters above the ground, with the sword raised high above his head, and shouted "Ah!" The scene when Liu Gang first appeared reappeared. However, this time was obviously different from the previous one. The lightning on the sword flashed rapidly, and more electric light snakes gathered on the sword. Not only the sword but also his whole body emitted dazzling white light. Provide you with the fastest update of the great gods breathing through the heavens, Marvel Mechanical Hunter. In order to check the fastest update of this book next time, please be sure to save the bookmark. 403 Surrounded by Rats Free Reading : You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Across the Heavens, Marvel's Mechanical Hunter. Author, De Chuan Chi. Chapter 377. The latest chapter of Traveling Through the Heavens, Marvel Mechanical Hunter is updated the fastest. Both of them have perfect body skills. How could they be attacked by the two-headed black snake? At the moment when the snake head pounced, the two used their body skills to dodge. With two loud noises of boom, the two heads of the two-headed black snake hit the ground fiercely. It quickly raised its head and looked at the two people in confusion. Obviously, in its view, how did these two people, a high-level warrior and a junior warrior, avoid its attack? Although puzzled, the two-headed black snake would not let the two go, but this time it launched an attack with all its strength. It no longer used only a pair of snake heads to attack the two, but used its whole body, tail sweep, body entanglement, and mouth bite, all in the hope of killing the two in a short time and having a good meal. Facing the unceremonious attack of the two-headed black snake, the two cooperated tacitly with the two-headed black snake on the left and right. There was no way. Although the two-headed black snake was a physical attack, its skin was too thick, and the swords in the hands of the two could not break its defense. Of course, this did not include Yejuju. Yejuju had already used his 9-layer ice blade technique at this time. Every time he chopped it out, it was frosty. Even if he could not break the defense of the two-headed black snake, he could leave frost marks on its skin. Luo Feng was struggling while fighting, thinking about whether to use his telekinetic flying knife in this battle. Is Yejuju worthy of his trust? Recalling the care Yejuju had given him since the warrior assessment, and looking at him at this time when he was fighting with the two-headed black snake, he was obviously just a soy sauce roll. He couldn't stand it. Although Luo Feng was born in a slum, he also had his own pride. He would never allow him to be inferior to Yejuju in strength and drag Yejuju back in the battle. Thinking of this, seeing Yejuju's calm face, leaving marks on the two-headed black line snake again and again, while he could only tickle the two-headed black line snake, Luo Feng couldn't stand it anymore. Finally, Luo Feng made the decision to expose his strength in front of Yejuju. In the fight, Luo Feng saw the right opportunity, and with a thought, 6 telekinetic flying knives flew out from his back, and gathered together in the blink of an eye, becoming a slightly larger flying knife, and whoosh shot towards the eyes of one of the two-headed black line snake's heads. Puchi, Pala, Ang, Wu. The sound of the flying knife piercing into the eyeball and the two-headed black line snake's screams rang out. Yejuju seized the moment when the two-headed black line snake was injured and paused, and his body soared from the ground. The sword in his hand was full of ice power, and the handle was upside down, and he fiercely stabbed into the mouth of the two-headed black line snake that was wide open due to the screams. Puff, roar. Diamond suit woo. A more shrill scream came from the mouth of the two-headed black snake. Then, the tail was pulled back fiercely, and it was whipped towards Yejuju at a lightning speed. Yejuju quickly pulled out the sword and landed on the ground, and his body moved away from the body of the two-headed black snake at an incredible speed. With a bang, crash, the tail of the two-headed black snake swept the air and hit the building next to it fiercely. The huge force swept the building down, and a large amount of building debris fell down. Luo Feng was also experienced in combat, so he would never miss the opportunity. He flew to launch another attack with his telekinesis, and pierced into the mouth of the only uninjured snake head of the two-headed black snake. Both snake heads were seriously injured. The two-headed black snake was completely angry, and it roared angrily from its mouth, and frantically attacked Yejuju and the others with its snake head and tail. Seeing that the two-headed black snake was so badly injured, but could still attack so fiercely, the two knew that the snake head was not the two-headed black snake's weak spot. After the two looked at each other tacitly, they launched their ultimate moves together. Yejuju unceremoniously used the 9-layer ice blade, and for a moment, the blade was everywhere, and the white mist and frost wrapped around the two-headed black snake. Luo Feng jumped into the air, raised his sword high with both hands, and shouted "Ah!" Thunder flashed on his body. When the lightning gathered almost, his body fell down rapidly, and the sword fiercely stabbed into the junction of the two heads of the two-headed black snake. Sizzle, snap. Boom. The sound kept ringing, and the two-headed black snake kept howling miserably. Such power surprised Yejuju. Yejuju was naturally not the first time to see the power of the 9-layer thunder blade, but he did not expect that Luo Feng would have such a huge power when he used it. But things are always mutual, and great power naturally has to pay a price. This is not. The sword in Luo Feng's hand finally couldn't withstand such a powerful burst of power. When the 9-layer thunder sword was used this time, it also shattered into metal residues with click, ding, and clatter. In this way, Luo Feng's weapon was scrapped, but fortunately he still had the telekinetic flying knife, and he could continue to attack the two-headed black line snake. Yejuju followed closely, and the ice power in his body burst out fiercely. Snow-white ice condensed on the sword, and he stabbed it hard into the heart of the two-headed black line snake. Yes. The heart of other snake monsters is at their 7 inches, but the heart of the two-headed black line snake is not, it is at the intersection of the two tongues. And the defense here is also the most vulnerable part of the two-headed black line snake. Therefore, although the sword in Yejuju's hand was the same as Luo Feng's, it was only an E-class sword, but with the blessing of the ice power of his 9-layer ice blade, it still penetrated the heart of the two-headed black-threaded snake. Roar. Woo. After the miserable howl, the body of the double-headed black-threaded snake fell heavily to the ground, making a loud pang, rumble sound and raising a large amount of smoke and dust. After the smoke and dust cleared, the two of them looked at the two-headed black snake that was still twitching on the ground. They had to sigh at the vitality of the high-level beast-level monster. It was really tenacious. Its heart was pierced and frozen into ice, but it didn't stop immediately. Die. Just when the two of them were thinking about waiting for the death of the double-headed black thread snake, they would step forward to collect the materials from the double-headed black thread snake. There was a sound of papa papa applause in the distance, and a voice came from afar. It's very good that a peak senior warrior and a junior general can work together to kill a high-level beast general level monster, you guys. Really good. I think you have good talents. What do you think? Are you interested in joining our Bolanaz family? We will provide you with resources you can't imagine to quickly improve your strength. Hearing this, Yejuju frowned, feeling extremely unhappy and said in his heart. Still want to meet you? Is this a fateful arrangement? When Yejuju heard about the Bolanaz family, he knew who was coming. Turning around, Yejuju saw the junior war god walking in front, followed by Li Weihe, a senior war general. To provide you with the fastest update of the gods breathing across the heavens, Marvel's Mechanical Hunter. In order that you can check the fastest update of this book next time, please be sure to save the bookmark. 404 1-minute free reading / Across the Heavens, Marvel's Mechanical Hunter. Author, De Chuanqi. Chapter 378. The fastest update to the latest chapter of Marvel's Mechanical Hunter Across the Heavens. It was too late to stop Lu Gang, Yejuju hurriedly said to Queen Hong. Quick, play the process in my mind. Okay, sir. As the sound fell, a picture exactly the same as Yejuju's played in Yejuju's mind. It only took a second for Yejuju to understand the meaning of the picture. It sounds simple. The process was just that Yejuju completed the process of releasing the cold current in his body. Anyway, after the transformation of his system and icebox, his body is not afraid of any freezing damage, it just keeps the surging cold current gathering in his body. The most important thing is compression, compressing the mist-like cold air into an ice ball. No, hockey is not the right word. Because its interior is not ice, but ice energy in an energy state. The amount of energy gathered can be controlled by Yejuju himself, which means that the power released is determined by Yejuju himself. Very good. Yejuju couldn't help but cheer in his heart. This is not only a way to solve this crisis and complete the tasks released by the system, but also gives Yejuju an additional powerful and controllable trick, which is certainly worthy of Yejuju's joy. At this moment, Lu Gang had already risen from the ground. Seeing the bright light on his body starting to flash, Yejuju hurriedly flew into the air and said to Lu Gang, "Senior, wait a minute, I have an idea." After the sound fell, Lu Gang looked at Yejuju in surprise, and even suspected that Yejuju had deliberately erased the determination to die that he had finally gathered. If he did it again, he didn't know if he would have the courage to sacrifice himself. On the ground, several piles of giant rat beasts were piling up towards the two people in the air. Yejuju doesn't talk nonsense either. Said directly, "Senior, the rat beast is over-controlled by the Rat King. I have a way to kill the Rat King. You can just wait for me for a while. If I can't, can you do it again?" Hearing this, Lu Gang glanced at Yejuju with complicated eyes, and finally chose to believe Yejuju. After all, it's better to die than to live. Who wouldn't want to live if there is hope of life? Besides, his state of rushing forward to die was interrupted by Yejuju. Anyway, if there were no special circumstances, he would not be able to easily make the determination to sacrifice himself again. Yejuju saw that Lu Gang's expression softened and his heart relaxed, so he took action immediately. He could fly, and with the help of the Red Queen, he could naturally find the Rat King among the dense herd of rats. Locking on the Rat King, Yejuju flew over its head and activated his ultimate move. The difference was that the ice power in his body surged crazily but did not escape from his body. Although Yejuju was hovering in the air and no change could be seen in his appearance, the Rat King felt the situation immediately due to the powerful aura emanating from Yejuju's body. Diamond suit, diamond suit, diamond suit, diamond suit. Instinctively, the alert Rat King immediately shrank his tall body, hid himself among other rat beasts, and moved quickly. When it thought about it, no matter what Yejuju wanted to do, as long as he stayed away from Yejuju so that Yejuju couldn't find him, the human being would have nothing to do with him. Pity. Despite all his calculations, he couldn't figure out that Yejuju was not from this world, and the Red Queen was not an ordinary computer. She had the means to lock it and make it invisible. No matter where the Rat King fled, Yejuju was rapidly compressing the ice power of his ultimate move in his body. Only he himself knew that at this time, a smooth and flowing white ball of light the size of a soldier ball was condensing inside his body. White airflow continues to enter the light ball, making the light ball's brilliance a little brighter. The consequence of this is that the energy in Yejuju's body continues to decrease, from the original 6,000 to 5,000 and then to 4,000. There was no way, Yejuju didn't know how powerful a burst was, and whether it could kill the Rat King. In order not to do wasted work, I might as well try to use them all at once. I don't believe it, the compression ultimate move with 6,000 energy concentration can't kill the Rat King. When the energy value returned to 0 and jumped to 35 again, Yejuju finally moved. At a speed exceeding twice the speed of sound, the body disappeared from the spot with a swish, and then reappeared in the sky 1 kilometer away. Without hesitation, the body bowed backwards. Fortunately, Yejuju's armor has its own energy and can support his flight, otherwise Yejuju would not be able to find and catch up with the hidden Rat King. With a cry of awe, Yejuju's body suddenly bent back, and his hands were pushed hard towards the ground. Suddenly, a ball of light the size of a fist appeared between Yejuju's hands. In the blink of an eye, it became the size of a basketball, and then turned into a ball of white light 1 meter in diameter. The light ball was pushed out hard by Yejuju, and it quickly fell to the ground. The Rat King, hidden among ordinary rat beasts, instinctively felt danger and was afraid of this seemingly inconspicuous ball of light. He wanted to escape quickly, but found that the speed of the light ball was not much slower than its speed. In the critical moment, the Rat King, unwilling to die, stood up and roared sharply. In front of it, the rat beasts gathered together quickly, forming two rat beast walls in front of it, which were formed by the gathering of rat beasts and were 10 meters thick. Seeing the reaction of the Rat King, Yejuju sneered disdainfully and said softly, "Do you think you can block my compression trick like this? Naive." After the sound fell, the light ball had collided with the flesh wall formed by the rat beasts. Strangely, there was no explosion sound. But a magical scene appeared. Kaka. Kaka. The sound kept ringing. Just when the light ball and the rat beasts came into contact, the rat beast wall turned into two huge ice walls in the blink of an eye, but the light ball continued to hit the ground. The light ball fell to the ground. Dispersed silently. Kaka. Crash. The sound kept ringing, like a death song, freezing all the rat beasts within a radius of 100 meters into ice cubes and condensing on the ground. Of course, it also includes the Rat King, who turned around and wanted to steal away. In the huge white ice that wrapped the Rat King, you can even see the Rat King's terrified eyes before his death through the transparent ice. The raised leg showed the world how powerful Yejuju's move was. Even the Rat King of the high-level beast general level could not escape the killing range of Yejuju's move and was instantly frozen to death. Then, the power of this move is enough to be comparable to the ultimate move of the God of War warrior. In fact, the power of this move really shocked Yejuju himself. Unexpectedly, this seemingly ordinary move was so powerful. And Liu Gang, who saw this scene, opened his mouth in shock. He couldn't imagine that Yejuju's move was so powerful. It was even more powerful than the 9-layer Thunder Blade under his extreme burst. We provide you with the fastest update of the book Marvel Mechanical Hunter, written by the great God Dopan. In order to check the fastest update of this book next time, please be sure to save the bookmark. 405 The Ultimate Compression Trick is free to read, / Across the Heavens, Marvel's Mechanical Hunter. Author, De Chuanchi. Chapter 379. He thought he could do what Yejuju did, but the movement was huge when he activated it, but he was unable to lock onto the Rat King and kill him with one blow. But Yejuju did it? Why not surprise him? Everyone who saw the scene was shocked. It took a while for someone to react and let out a cheer of surprise. Then, because of the death of the Rat King, the rat beasts on the ground suddenly became panicked, spinning around in circles at a loss, and even trampling on each other. A minute later, these gathered rat beasts seemed to have lost their backbone and direction. They no longer continued to move forward, but scattered in all directions and disappeared into the ruins. Searched Can on Google. The huge level 3 rat tide was solved in this way. All the people paying attention here breathed a huge sigh of relief, and then people in several base cities rang out with cheers of celebration as if they were celebrating the new year. Liu Gang also came to Yejuju happily, opened his mouth and said to Yejuju, "Young man, thank you so much. You not only saved me, but also saved hundreds of millions of people in the entire Jiangnan base. I don't know how to thank you. You say. Whatever you need, I can give you, whether it's money, contribution points, or anything else, as long as you ask, I will find a way to help you get it. In addition, someone has contacted me and wants to invite you to join their force. It depends on whether you are interested." Hearing this, how could Yejuju be willing? Isn't the reason why he hid his identity just because he didn't want others to know his identity now? Otherwise, how else could he benefit from following Luo Feng? Thinking of this, Yejuju shook his head and said resolutely and against his will, "I like to be alone. Money and contribution points don't have much effect on me. Those so-called influence invitations. Forget it. By the way, things here are settled. I have other things to do, so I'll stay here soon. Goodbye." After saying that, Yejuju jumped up without hesitation, flew into the air, and flew into the distance with a swish sound. In less than a minute, he disappeared from Liu Gang's sight. Liu Gang was surprised and dumbfounded, and he couldn't understand why Yejuju gave up this rare opportunity. When he thought about it, the resources required for warrior cultivation were so huge. If you practiced alone, how could any big force provide you with such convenience? Even if you hate those family forces and don't want to join, right? That you should be willing to go to Extreme Martial Arts Gym and Thunder and Lightning Martial Arts Gym, right? After all, Lei Shen and Hong can give you more benefits, right? Why can't you wait for me to say it? This is why Yejuju doesn't know if he really has to consider whether to meet these two strongest men on Earth now. It's better to get more benefits from them. For example, the God of Thunder's ninefold Thunder Sword or Hong's world-destroying spear technique are what he covets. Pity. Because Liu Gang spoke carelessly, Yejuju missed this opportunity. But Yejuju was very happy at this time. Listen to the prompts coming from the system in your ears. Congratulations to the host for completing the world mission. Eliminate the rat tide and avoid the death of the protagonist Luo Feng and the god of war Liu Gang. You will be rewarded with 50,000 experience points and the 9-layer ice blade upgraded to 3-layer. Tips: the host level increases, currently level 34, strength and stamina increase by 5 each. Intelligence, spirit, and agility each increase by 1 and have been automatically assigned to the attribute panel. Please check the details by the host. More than 100 kilometers away from the previously broken bridge, Yejuju landed on the top floor of a building after the Red Queen told him that there was no surveillance. After taking back his armor with his mind, he happily checked the rewards of this mission. The first is experience. 50,000 experience has raised Yejuju's level by 1 level again. There is also the upgrade of the 9-level Ice Blade, which has raised Yejuju's strength by another level. Even the 5 Hearts Yangtian technique, which had just been upgraded, showed signs of improvement. Obviously, Yejuju had benefited a lot from this battle with the rat tide. Can't wait to open the panel to see. Name: Yejuju. Age: 16 years old. Occupation: mechanical hunter. Level: level 34, 32200/44000. Property: strength: 49. Stamina: 19. Intelligence: 36. Spirit: 36. Agility: 36. Speed: 74 meters/second. Energy: 8,200, 36 points/minute. Recovery speed. Professional talents and skills: 1 Advanced Combat Master. 2 Senior Mechanical Master. Pets: Mechanical 2-headed dragon, Tiamat, Mechanical 3-headed dog, Cerberus, Mecha Warrior, General. Cultivation skills: 5 Hearts to the Sky, passive skill, proficiency level, strength *20, speed *20, 9-layer ice knife, triple power 2 times. Mount: Chasing the Wind, Transformers. Special space: 10,000 square meters of mechanical manufacturing space, 100 traps, spider silk injectors, 100 mechanical flies, 23 wolves, 10 mechanical drones, 6 liquid metal robots, 6 clusters of transformation elements, and fire. Drawings: 0. Special permissions: 0. Note: there are 0 times left for the time travel function. Not bad. For Yejuju, he has only been in this world for more than 2 months, and his level has been improved several levels, and he has also obtained skills. It's so wonderful. What he didn't know was that when Liu Gang told the major families that Yejuju was leaving and was unwilling to accept the invitations from the major families, all the people from the aristocratic families were angry. Some were arrogant and conceited, of course, cursing Yejuju for not knowing how to promote himself, thinking that he was great just because he was strong and had great potential, and that he would definitely make Yejuju look bad when he fell into their hands one day. Some were more patient and far-sighted, and were more optimistic about Yejuju. Because such a person, once he sincerely joined a family, would definitely work hard for this family until his death. Therefore, a few family leaders all made similar decisions. Send family members to the Jiangnan base to find Yejuju, and whether it was coercion or inducement, they would bring Yejuju into the family to work for them. Among them, naturally, there was the Bolanaz family. However, for unknown reasons, the person sent was Li Yao's son Li Wei, who was a traitor to his father. He was accompanied by 4 high-level warriors of the Thunder Team and a junior war god. Yejuju rushed back to the base from the wild, handed over all the gains, and said nothing about everyone's discussion of his other identity. Even if someone asked him if he had seen the strong man who saved the Jiangnan base, he would evade the question and then leave the base. Just after taking a shower, Luo Feng came to the door. Opening the door, letting Luo Feng into the room, the two sat down on the sofa. Luo Feng rarely spoke immediately, sitting on the sofa with a look of absent-mindedness. Yejuju looked at Luo Feng in surprise and asked, "What's wrong, Luo Feng?" "Huh." Hearing this, Luo Feng looked up at Yejuju. He didn't notice it before because he was worried, but now he found that the momentum emanating from Yejuju was no weaker than his own. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Across the Heavens, Marvel's Mechanical Hunter. Author, De Chuanqi. Chapter 380. The fastest update to the latest chapter of Marvel's Mechanical Hunter Across the Heavens. Obviously, in the past month, not only has his strength improved to the level of a high-level warrior and is about to break through to the level of a junior warrior, but Yejuju's strength has also improved, and is even stronger than himself. While admiring Yejuju in his heart, he asked, "Brother Ye, are you now already promoted to an intermediate warrior?" Yejuju nodded non-committally in response, and then said as if he had just come to his senses, "If you have anything to say, just say it." "Oh." Luo Feng responded hesitantly, and then said after hesitating, "Brother Ye, there are not many high-level monsters outside the base, Are you going to change places to hunt?" Is that right?" After Yejuju answered thoughtfully, he remembered that in the play, Luo Feng went to City 003 after the Rat Tide, where he killed 2 senior generals from HUYA Team and Thunder Team, killed Li Wei, and obtained the iron armor. Dragon's Egg. As a result, Li Yao issued a reward. In the end, he directly confronted Li Yao and received many benefits from Cao Muzin He. Thinking of this, Yejuju decided to go to 003 Good City with Luo Feng. It was hard to say whether he would meet Li Wei and the others, but the armored dragon was what he wanted to touch. After all, the armored dragon is a high-level lord-level monster, and killing it will definitely increase the level of both his techniques. After deciding, Yejuju said, "In the month since I was separated from you, I have also done a lot of research on the wild cities outside several major bases, and the one that is most suitable for us is City 003. The monsters there include not only a large number of high-level beast soldiers, but also beast general level and even lord level monsters, which is enough for us to practice for a while. So, you are also tired this month, so you need to settle down for a while. In half a month, we will set off to City 003 together." No 003. The Shanghai stock market before Nirvana. After Yejuju finished speaking, Luo Feng murmured, raised his head and looked at Yejuju with bright eyes and said, "Okay, brother Ye. Let's go to No 003. Maybe we can also meet Senior Lu Gang." Hearing this, Yejuju subconsciously reached out and touched his nose in embarrassment, secretly wondering if Lu Gang would recognize him if he really saw him. After seeing off the excited Luo Feng, Yejuju calmed down and began to practice the 2 techniques of 5 hearts to the sky and 9 layers of ice swords. Half a month is not long or short. While Yejuju and Lu Gang were practicing peacefully, many strangers came to the Jiangnan base. Without exception, these strangers are all luxuriously dressed and magnificent figures. Naturally, their purpose was to find Yejuju's vest. Pity. These people are destined not to find Yejuju, because Yejuju has decided to go to City 003 with Luo Feng. Today was the day for the two of them to set off and board the train to City 003. What Yejuju didn't know yet was Li Wei and the 5 members of the Thunder team, who were also at the Jiangnan base, bought a piece of news from the other warriors that made Li Wei very excited. Speaking of which, it was also a coincidence that a survivor of the warrior team contacted Li Wei and gave Li Wei a piece of news. The Lord-level monster armored dragon living in City No 003 has produced a dragon egg and is hiding in City No 003. The armored dragon's egg is worth 10 billion, and there is no doubt about its attraction to Li Wei, the 4 members of the Thunder Squad, and the accompanying junior god of war, Li Zhan. Although the junior god of war seems to have a great reputation, the junior god of war who was born in the Bolinas family really doesn't get whatever he wants. The temptation of a dragon egg was enough to make the 6 of them give up looking for Yejuju. Instead, like Yejuju and the others, they left Jiangnan base for City 003 that day. As soon as they arrived in City 003, Yejuju and the 2 were shocked by the environment here. As soon as they arrived, a black-crowned golden wither flew over their heads in the sky. High-level beast soldier-level monsters could be seen everywhere, and even beast general-level monsters appeared in groups in the ruins. At this moment, Yejuju, who was standing on the top floor of the building, saw a group of people walking from a distance, which immediately caught his attention. Because the equipment of this group of people is extremely luxurious, even for a blonde young man who is the weakest among them and only has the strength of a high-level warrior. He was also wearing equipment worth 2 billion, and he was no worse than the man next to him who was obviously a senior war general and a junior war god. The most obvious thing is that the young man is obviously surrounded by several people. At first glance, he is a young master from a wealthy family who is out for training. After Yejuju saw the faces of these people clearly, he even sighed at how powerful fate was. I originally thought that without the HUYA team, Li Wei would not appear here, but it was such a coincidence that these people appeared here. What depresses Yejuju the most is that without the HUYA team, there are several people around Li Wei who are stronger than the HUYA team, especially the junior god of war, which puts a lot of pressure on him. Now that these people are here. So, those 2 gods of war who came for the armored dragon. Will it also appear here? Will the dragon egg fall into Luo Feng's hands? Will Li Wei be tricked to death by Luo Feng because of this? Thinking of this, Yejuju turned around and looked at Luo Feng with interest, which made Luo Feng look puzzled. And the god of war is the god of war. The 4 high-level warriors did not notice Yejuju and the others, but Li Zhan was attracted by Yejuju's gaze and looked up at Yejuju and the others. Seeing that the 2 were just young people who had not even reached the strength of a mid-level warrior, he curled his lips slightly and did not take them seriously. He continued to walk deeper into No 003 with a few people. Looking at the few people who left, Yejuju did not plan to follow them now. Anyway, the 2 gods of war had not arrived yet, and he had not had the opportunity to kill the iron armored dragon. It would be better to start killing some high-level beast generals and monsters now to practice. You reading? After deciding, Yejuju took Luo Feng down to the ground and started hunting monsters. It must be said that Luo Feng was a person who was afraid of poverty. As long as Yejuju looked down on the monsters, Luo Feng would kill these monsters and collect the materials. Therefore, the speed of the 2 was obviously much slower. When the 2 came to an abandoned parking lot, they encountered the high-level beast general that appeared in the play, the 2-headed black line snake. The 2-headed black line snake in reality looks more domineering and ferocious than in the video. The huge body coiled in the parking lot, and the 2 snake heads looked down at Yejuju and Luo Feng from the left and right. The two pairs of snakes exuded a cold, ruthless, and bloodthirsty red light, and the snake tongue swallowed and spit. The next second, the two snake heads attacked Yejuju and the others without any warning. Provide you with the fastest update of the great gods breathing through the heavens, Marvel Mechanical Hunter. In order to check the fastest update of this book next time, please be sure to save the bookmark. 407,003 City Free Reading / Across the Heavens, Marvel's Mechanical Hunter. Author, De Chuanchi. Chapter 381. Both of them had perfect body skills. How could they be attacked by the two-headed black snake? At the moment when the snake head attacked, the two used the body skills and flowing light of the 9-layer thunder blade to dodge neatly. Speaking of body skills and flowing light, it was Yejuju who automatically comprehended it when the 9-layer ice blade was promoted to the 3rd level. And Luo Feng is worthy of being the chosen son of this world. His comprehension and luck are both top-notch. He actually comprehended body skills at the 2nd level of the 9-layer thunder blade, which really made Yejuju speechless. With two loud noises of boom, the two heads of the two-headed black snake hit the ground fiercely. It quickly raised its head and looked at the two people in confusion. Obviously, in its view, how did these two people, a high-level warrior and a junior warrior, avoid its attack? Although puzzled, the two-headed black snake would not let the two go, but launched an attack with all its strength. It no longer used only a pair of snake heads to attack the two people, but used its entire body, tail sweep, body entanglement, and mouth bites, hoping to kill the two people in a short time and have a full meal. Facing the lightning-fast attack of the two-headed black snake, the two cooperated tacitly on the left and right to fight with the two-headed black snake. There was no way. Although the two-headed black snake was a physical attack, its skin was too thick, and the swords in the hands of the two could not break its defense. Of course, this did not include Yejuju. Although the sword could not break the defense, it was different with his ice power. At this time, he had already performed the 9-layer ice knife technique, and every time he chopped the knife, there was a touch of frost on the blade. Even if he could not break the defense of the two-headed black snake, he could leave frost marks on its skin. Luo Feng was struggling while fighting, thinking about whether to use his telekinetic flying knife in this battle. Is Yejuju worthy of his trust? Thinking back to the care and performance of Yejuju from the warrior assessment to now, and seeing that he was obviously reduced to a supporting role when fighting with the two-headed black line snake at this time, he couldn't stand it. Thinking that although Luo Feng was born in a slum, he also had his own pride. He would never allow him to be inferior to Yejuju in strength and drag Yejuju back in the battle. Thinking of this, watching Yejuju calmly fight the two-headed black line snake, leaving scars on the two-headed black line snake again and again, while he could only tickle the two-headed black line snake, Luo Feng couldn't stand it more and more. Finally, Luo Feng gritted his teeth and made the decision to expose his strength in front of Yejuju. During the fight, Luo Feng saw the right time, and with a thought, 6 telekinetic flying knives flew out from his back, gathered together in the blink of an eye, and merged into a slightly larger flying knife, which shot towards the eyes of one of the two-headed black line snake's heads with a whoosh. Puff, snap. Ang. Woo. Diamond suit, the flying knife pierced into the eyes of the two-headed black snake, and the sound of the eyeball bursting and the two-headed black snake's screams rang out. Yejuju seized the moment when the two-headed black snake was injured and paused, and flew up from the ground. The sword in his hand was full of ice power, and the handle was upright. He stabbed the two-headed black snake's mouth, which was wide open due to the screams. Puff, roar. Woo. A more shrill scream came from the mouth of the two-headed black snake. Then, the two-headed black snake's tail was pulled back fiercely, and it was pulled towards Yejuju at a speed faster than lightning. Yejuju reacted quickly, pulled out the sword and fell to the ground with extremely fast movements, and his body moved away from the sweeping range of the two-headed black snake's tail at an incredible speed. With a sound of boom, crash, the tail of the two-headed black snake swept through the air and hit the building next to it fiercely. The huge force swept the building down, and a large amount of building debris fell down. Luo Feng was also experienced in combat, so he would never miss the opportunity to seriously injure the two-headed black snake. The telekinetic flying knife was launched again, piercing into the mouth of the only uninjured snake head of the two-headed black snake. Suddenly, both snake heads were seriously injured, and the two-headed black snake was completely angry. It roared angrily and attacked Yejuju and the others with its snake head and tail frantically. Seeing that the two-headed black snake was so seriously injured, it could still attack so fiercely. The two knew that the snake head was not the vital point of the two-headed black snake. At least, the two-headed black snake could not be killed before its snake head was cut off. The two looked at each other tacitly and launched a big move together. Yejuju unceremoniously exerted all his strength to activate the 9-layer ice blade. For a moment, the blade energy was everywhere, and the white mist and frost wrapped around the two-headed black snake. Luo Feng jumped into the air, raised his swords in both hands high, and shouted "Ah!" Lightning flashed all over his body. When the lightning gathered almost, his body fell rapidly, and the sword fiercely stabbed into the junction of the two heads of the two-headed black snake. Facing Luo Feng's thunder attack, the two-headed black snake also sensed the danger, and when it wanted to dodge, it was half a second slower. Because its body at this time had been affected by the cold attack emitted by Yejuju's 9-layer ice blade, its speed was no longer as fast as before, and it could not dodge this knife. Puff, sizzle, snap. Boom. The sound kept ringing, and the two-headed black snake kept making shrill howls. Such power surprised Yejuju. Yejuju naturally saw the power of the 9-layer thunder blade before, but he did not expect that Luo Feng would also have such great power when he used it. But things are always mutual, and great power naturally comes at a price. This is not. The sword in Luo Feng's hand finally couldn't withstand such a powerful burst of power. When it burst out with all its strength, it also broke into metal fragments with a crack, ding, clatter, leaving only a hilt in Luo Feng's hand. In this way, Luo Feng's weapon was useless, but fortunately he still had the telekinetic flying knife, and he could continue to attack the two-headed black snake. Yejuju followed closely, and the ice power in his body burst out fiercely. Snow-white ice condensed on the sword, and pierced through the skin of the two-headed black snake with a fierce knife and stabbed into its heart. Yes. The heart of other snake monsters is at their 7 inches, but the heart of the two-headed black snake is not, it is at the intersection of the two snake heads. And the defense here is also the most vulnerable part of the two-headed black snake. Therefore, although the sword in Yejuju's hand is the same as Luo Feng's, it is only an E-level sword, but with the blessing of his ice power, it still broke into the heart of the two-headed black snake. Roar! Woo! After the miserable howl, the body of the two-headed black snake fell heavily to the ground, making a loud bang, rumble sound, raising a large cloud of dust. When the dust cleared, the two looked at the two-headed black snake still twitching on the ground, and couldn't help but sigh at the vitality of the high-level beast general-level monster, which was really tenacious. The heart was pierced and frozen into ice, but it didn't die immediately. Just when the two were thinking that after the two-headed black snake died, they would go forward to collect the materials from the two-headed black snake.